Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to the house at Long Meadow. It's a beautiful sunny day today, albeit a little bit cold, but we are out here this morning catching up on a lot of farm chores that we've been putting off for the last few weeks. So come along and join us. Good morning, Mama. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the kitchen here at House at Long Meadow. We have been working all morning in the garden and outside doing a bunch of chores that have been put off for several weeks. It soon turned out to be a really warm, beautiful, and sunny day, so it was perfect for all of those chores that we needed to do. We just wrapped up eating lunch, and I'm about to get some dinner prep going for the new year. Every year for New Year, we eat our traditional black-eyed peas and cabbage. Now, I know those are two probably least favorite items that you might want to eat, but let me tell you, these black-eyed peas are delicious. You just have to know how to cook them. So, join me at the stove and let's get to cooking. Now, I've already got a Dutch oven going hot. I have a little bit of lard in this Dutch oven already melted down, probably on about medium-high heat. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brown up some pork ends and pieces. So these are like the nubs, the little extra pieces off the pig when we had a hog butchered earlier this year. You could also use bacon if you don't have cuts like this, but this is perfect for a pot of beans, a pot of peas. They cook down really nicely, but we're going to get those browned up. Okay, now while that pork is cooking, I'm going to start chopping my vegetables. Now, this is my take on a classic recipe called Hoppin' John. So what you will typically find in Hoppin' John is some onion, celery. I've got a nice pretty green bell pepper, lots of garlic, and then I have half a tomato left over from our quesadillas at lunch, so I'm gonna chop that up, toss it in, what the heck. Now you just want everything diced. It doesn't have to be too small either. Just a good dice on all of your vegetables. You know, peas always seem to get a bad rap. Kids never like to eat them. I even didn't eat them for a long time. And I think that's because people just don't know how to prepare them the right way. But anytime you add some good pork to a pot of beans or a pot of peas and you season it really well, you can't go wrong. Pour that over a slice of hot buttered cornbread. Super delicious. Hoppin' John originated in the Cajun parts of the country. And so it's going to always start with what they call the Holy Trinity, which would be onions, celery, and bell pepper. So that's what we're going to cook down in the base of these black-eyed peas. These ends and pieces aren't going to cook down and render and get nice and crispy like some sliced bacon would be in this pot, but I want to go ahead and get it browned, get some little browned pieces on the bottom of that skillet that will cook into all these veggies that we're going to start sauteing next. All right, we got our celery done. Let's get our onions going. We are down to the very last bit of onions from our spring garden. They're all starting to sprout, but still, it's nice for it to be the beginning of January almost, and we are still eating on onions that we planted last New Year's Day. You know, sometimes the effort of growing vegetables is just that. It's an effort. It's a lot of toil and hard work. And even though I could have just easily bought a bag of onions at the grocery store, it feels nice to be able to chop something and throw it in a dish that you grew with your own two hands. And of course, these are very strong, and I'm over here having a good cry. Okay, so our ends and pieces are all browned up nicely. I'm going to pull those out, stick them on a plate, and set it to the side while we get all of these vegetables cooked down. You're going to want to leave all that nice pork fat, lard that's rendered off down in the bottom of your skillet. That is the goodness that we are going to saute these vegetables in. All right, so we've got this pork pulled out. I'm going to start sauteing those 4 celery sticks and a couple of small onions. Now, I'm using red onion because that's all we have left from our spring garden, but you could easily use a yellow onion, a white onion, whatever you have. All right, I've got 1 large bell pepper that we're going to dice up and get going with the rest of these veggies. I've also got about a half of a yellow bell pepper left from lunch, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and throw that in there too. If I don't, I will probably forget that it's at the back of my crisper drawer and it will go to waste. Now, you could use any color bell pepper that you have. A green bell pepper is just what's traditional, but red, yellow, orange, all of those would be fine. And, you know, even if the recipe calls for a bell pepper and all you have is, say, a mild hot pepper like a poblano or even a jalapeno, just pull the seeds out, give it a dice, and throw it in. It doesn't have to be complicated, and you might be surprised at the flavor combination. Now I am going to go ahead and salt and pepper these vegetables while they're cooking. We'll salt the dish again just to make sure it's salted and peppered well enough after we add our peas. Okay, the last vegetable that we're going to get thrown in this pot with the rest is some garlic. Now, 3 or 4 cloves, more or less. All right, we're going to throw this garlic in last so that it doesn't burn. And we're going to cook that garlic for about a minute. Okay, the next thing we're going to do before putting our peas in is we're going to get everything seasoned. So I'm going to use about a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Just eyeball it. And then I'm going to use about a teaspoon of thyme. I'm going to put in a little bit more salt. Some black pepper. And a really large bay leaf. And then I'm also going to do a few dashes of our homemade hot sauce. It's not super spicy, just gives it a really good flavor. All right, now we're going to go in with some chicken stock. I've got about 8 cups. I'm going to do just a little bit at first and try to just deglaze the bottom of this pan. We want to scrape up all those nice brown bits off the bottom of the pan from the ends and pieces. That's where the flavor comes from. All right, we're good there. I'm going to get in that jar of chicken stock. Now, I'm doing a combination of peas today. I only had about a 1/2 pound of black-eyed peas in the pantry that were dried, and I want to do about 1 pound of peas total. So I have a package of some Lagreen peas that we grow in our garden each year from the freezer. These are fresh. So I'm going to put these dried peas in first. I've had them soaking all morning in some filtered water. I'm going to put those in. I'll probably let them cook for about an hour by themselves, and then I will put in these fresh peas. That way they kind of finish cooking at about the same time. All right, we're also going to throw in our pork, and we're going to get all the drippings off of this pan back into our pot. You know, sometimes the ends and pieces that you get off the pork can be a little tough or have some tough pieces in there. But when you slow cook that pork in a pot of beans or peas all afternoon long, it literally just melts in your mouth when it's finished cooking. All right, I'm going to add that last jar of chicken stock in. Okay, now all I'm going to do is bring this up to a boil. I'll probably move it to a smaller burner on the back of the stove, bring it up to a boil, and then turn it down, and I'm going to let that simmer on the back of the stove most of the afternoon. Now, it's time to do some cleanup. All right, so our peas have been bubbling away on the back of the stove all afternoon, and they're ready to eat. I've sauteed up a pan of cabbage and sausage, baked a pan of cornbread, and this dish is about to come together. Here we go. I'm gonna slice this pan of cornbread up and let's eat. They look so delicious. You got to get that juice all soaked into that cornbread. All right, look at that hearty plate of peas. So delicious. And I hope this recipe convinces you that peas and cornbread and cabbage are a really delicious dish. Let's eat up. Perfect. So good with that buttered cornbread. Here at House at Long Meadow, we wish you a happy new year with all the luck and good fortune that a plate of peas and cornbread can bring. Okay, we were so busy enjoying our peas and cornbread that I almost forgot to remind you. If you like the content that we've been bringing you these last few weeks, please like and subscribe below to our channel. If you would like the recipe for these black-eyed peas, that link can be found below as well. The website is www.houseatlongmeadow.com. See ya.